No, it's
Hello and
fine.
welcome to HTCG News. I'm your host Sean Farmer and we have a special guest with us today.
Hello, I'm Skyscape.
He's the developer of a really cool card game which we're about to go ahead and discuss. Would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself and the card game?
Yes, so my name is Jared, and I am the creator of the Skyscape trading card game. As for the game of Skyscape, it is what I've been working on from about 2016. It's a really cool game, and I'll be telling you guys more about it throughout this video.
Awesome. Do you happen to have a company that represents your game or is it just you?
Well, it is just me, but I do have a company for that. The name of the company is Skyscape Gaming.
Oh, awesome. Easy enough. What is your game about, lore wise?
Well, I'm glad you asked that. So, for the game of Skyscape, it involves six different types of magic. And for the six different types of magic, that's called kin. Kin. And there are six different types of kin magic. I can have you put them up on the screen for us, but that involves life, balance, order, death, rage, and creation.
Okay.
And those six different types of magic, or kin, is what the world is all about. It helps bring balance to the world, and there are six different gods that are responsible for pretty much everything in the world. Um, just all the different things that goes on in the world and such. And before the gods were around, the world was in chaos. There was multiple wars going on in the world, and the kin was chaotic, and it all led up to this event called the Great Kin War. However, as soon as the gods arrived, and there was the creation of what is called the divine pantheon, there was order brought into the world. And the divine pantheon is essentially indestructible, and it protects the world from this race of demons. Now, the demons, as they might sound, are hell-bent on the destruction of the world of Skyscape, and with destroying everything on it and taking it over. So that falls into the lore and the story and even the gameplay of Skyscape, as you are a warrior, either trying to take over Skyscape and be evil with the help of the Void Summon cards, or you are trying to be good and call upon characters to help you in the game.
Oh, that's really cool. So you have a choice of pretty much how you want to go about playing it.
And for the Void Summons, I've done a few new things with them that I'm very excited for, which I will be showcasing in the next set.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that. Now, you mentioned there are six different kin, correct?
Yes, the six different types of kin.
And there's also six gods. Are they representing each kin or?
Yes,
Okay.
I can give the names for them if you like.
Sure. By all means, if you have images as well, I can put them up right here on the
Okay,
video.
sounds good to me. So for the first god, his name is Auric Shah, and he is responsible for maintaining the kin of life. There is also Reika. She is responsible for the kin of balance. Then there is Hydracus. He's responsible for the kin of order. After that, we have Adrael. She's responsible for the kin of death. Then we have Tyrax. He is the god of rage. And finally, we have Volneric, who is responsible for the kin of creation. And he is a very interesting god, to say the least.
Awesome. Sounds good. What makes them interesting, if you don't mind sharing that?
Um, why he's interesting is because in the lore of the story, there's more to it that I will have being shown in the future sets. But for right now, he always saw himself as being the weakest of the gods, but the gods actually see him as being the strongest.
Okay.
So he is tasked with mainly Mainly actually having the balance of Skyscape and the flow of the balance of the different forms of kin on the world.
Oh, dang. Now, you've touched on a lot of stuff that already makes your game unique. What's some like play styles and features in your game that makes it different from others?
Well, aside from lore, just because I could talk about lore for days, honestly, the most unique thing for the game itself would have to be the life cost system. So, what I did with the game is I've noticed that a lot of different games have a life point system or a health bar.
Yeah.
And usually, this can only be dealt damage through your opponent's attacks or through card effects that deal damage. However, what I did for my game that makes it really unique is each of the cards will have a life cost. That means that when you play the cards, you will have to chip away part of your own life total to play them, and you have to strategize how much life you want to play on a certain combo of cards that could be wiped out by another combo that costs less life.
Hmm.
And of course, there's still damage in the game that you can be dealt. So overall, it's just a game of strategy on determining what is the best line of play and how much life you want to play at any given time.
Sweet. Sounds really cool, actually. Do you have a tutorial or demo on the gameplay?
I have quite a few tutorials on my channel. I'm actually currently working on a revision of some of the rules for the upcoming sets. That being said, it's not totally destroying what the game used to be. It's actually taking what the game used to be and it still has the same rules, but it's updating just a few minor things. That being said, yeah, you can find it on my channel.
Awesome. Cool. And the channel and all the videos will also be in the description below, so make sure to check that out as well. Um, what inspired you to create your game, as well as choose to be a card game?
Well, the inspiration for the story of Skyscape, it came from fantasy. So it came from different elements of fantasy like Lord of the Rings and things like World of Warcraft as well. As for the trading card game element, that came originally from games like Yu-Gi-Oh! Because I grew up watching the show. Also, card games like Magic the Gathering as well, because that's very fantasy oriented. And as for coming up with the idea for a card game, it originally came from Yu-Gi-Oh! And I kind of toyed with the idea of an older version of Skyscape, but I put that down. But then years later, I noticed a channel by the name of Chaos Galaxy, and they were putting out a lot of videos on how to make your own trading card game. So that really inspired me and kind of put me towards the direction that I'm in now of really wanting to be serious with making this a card game.
Awesome.
And also, I was inspired to make this a card game because I thought it was a good way for people to not only see my artwork, not only appreciate different versions and styles and archetypes, but also to share the artwork as well and trade different artworks that they think would be better than others.
Sweet. What are some strengths and weaknesses in the progression of your game?
Um, well, I'm actually going to start with a weakness for myself, and that is the fact that really it is just me coming up with the cards for now. If I do have more people join the project, it will progress a lot more quickly. However, at the moment, it is just me, so I'm just one guy with a job and different things going on in my own personal life. So that would be the biggest thing that's kind of slowing down the progression. However, I do have quite a bit of free time to myself, which can be seen as a positive. And I use most, if not all, of my free time to create cards and just work on the lore for the game. So that's kind of both a negative and a positive, but that would be the main thing that I would say for just the progression of my game.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I understand the struggle of doing something, by yourself and not having a little team behind you. Well, hopefully you can find a team in the future. Are you currently looking for people?
Yes, actually, I have talked to a couple of friends of mine. There's a friend of mine. He was working on a trading card game that used to be called Nexus, and we've actually done a few collaborations before. And I'm interested in having him be a part of a future team, perhaps. Also, maybe Martin uh, from Resolution Breakers. He'd be interesting. I also did notice Colin from Cards of Creation. Um, so I have quite a few people in mind. So that would probably be the start of an ideal group if possible.
Awesome. Well, good luck to you on that. What are some of the biggest roadblocks with developing your game thus far?
Ooh, okay. Big roadblocks. Again, probably just things in personal life. If there's ever issues there, that would be a roadblock. Also, I know this might sound kind of common for artists, but artist block sometimes. Again, it usually is just me. So sometimes I'll have days where I come up with a lot of really awesome ideas. I have really cool things for the story and for cards planned out. But other days it will just be just kind of, again, just art block. I won't have any ideas. So that's probably the biggest roadblock I'd see in just creating cards.
Okay. So, do you see any other potential roadblocks happening with the like future development of your game, or just
Um,
still the same type?
as for other roadblocks, an issue would probably be monetary issues, as creating your game. You do have to pay to get copies of your game if you are making it a physical product.
Yeah.
So that can be a hindrance on the production of games. You can't just go out just kind of spamming out five different sets and doing everything at once. Sometimes you could, but again, you have to save up for things like that. So that's a bit of a roadblock there.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, money can definitely be a huge issue from time to time, especially when it comes to developing something from scratch.
Yep. However, positive that I've seen happen before and things that I've seen people use is actually things like Untap. I've seen a few card games use. It's pretty much free, and you can put your games up on there. So anything like that can help. So stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. You also have Octagon and Tabletop Simulator, but TTS is paid, so you still have the same roadblock with that. Um, I know you mentioned that you're recreating certain things with your game. Do you have anything else planned in the future?
Well, at the moment, I'm working on a dual decks set, and that's going to feature two different decks with the new ruling for the game. A pretty main rule change would be how void summons are played, and that's going to continue on with the future of the card game. But as for new things, I'm actually going to be doing two different formats for the game. One that has the old rulings, that's going to be called the classic format,
Okay.
and one that has the newer rulings with the newer cards, and that's going to be called a current format. So that's pretty interesting. But for the next actual expansion set that I'm working on, it's going to be going back to the origins of the world of Skyscape and going back to the different wars that were fought when the different types of kin were still chaotic. And it will mainly focus on the great kin wars as well as the origins of the gods.
Ooh, it sounds really exciting.
Thank you.
Ask if there's anything else you'd like to bring up about your game.
Um, well, um, as for as for my game of Skyscape, I'd have to bring up just how thankful I am for as many subscribers and followers I've gotten for it. When I first started, I was looking up to a lot of different people, Chaos Galaxy, Wrath of Cores, Resolution Breakers, all these different games, and Now I'm kind of seen almost in the same boat by different people as just being one of those top contenders. So I definitely got to say thanks for that because I never thought I'd get to the stage that I am now. So just thank you to everybody really that supports me.
Awesome. Well, thank you once again for being here for the interview. It's always nice to get more information about other people's card games. I am unable to talk today. I'm sorry.
No, that's perfectly fine.
But yeah, thank you once again for being with us, and greatly appreciate your time.
Thank you.